East and West Learning Connections.
Helps people of different cultures break barriers and connect with each other.
Welcome everybody to our 2026 lunch coaching hour on business communication. This is actually the fourth year that Rick and I have running this series together, which sounds amazing. Every year, there's so many aha moments from the webinars and especially from the discussions. So I've always come away feeling like I've got the best insight or the communication secrets that I wouldn't otherwise decode by myself. So this year, I'm hoping to be a bit more intentional and strategic. Funny enough, while preparing for this, I realized, and that's what exactly Coach Rick has been doing all these years. Every session, he would set up a goal at the beginning and then reflect on them at the end. It only take a few years for me to get the hint. So I encourage all of you to think about what you want to get out of these sessions, set a goal, make a plan, and hopefully this series will help you get there. I'll post a survey link in the chat. If you get a moment, a few minutes just to fill it out so that the topic you are the mostly interested will be covered. We'll look at those survey results for sure. So this series has been supported over the years by East and West Learning Connections, EAWLC, which I'm a part of. It is a federally registered not-for-profit organization focused on cross-cultural learning. But this year, we're also very happy to be supported by another not-for-profit organization, NCCA, the National Communication Coach Association of Canada, which Rick is the executive director. So we're very grateful to have Coach Rick back with us again this year. And with that, I'll hand it over to Rick.
Thank you so much, Ellen. It's wonderful to be back. Let me share my screen before we go too much further. This is what we want to see. Okay, so what I'm going to do, as always, I'm going to go into presentation mode, which means I won't be able to see the chat. So if any one of you lovely people would like to have a comment or ask a question at any time, or practice, because soon we're going to do some practice if you like, then you may simply unmute yourself or raise your hand. But if you use chat, which is fine, Ellen will help me monitor that because I won't be able to see it once I press this magic button. Okay, let's get into it. So this is the first of this year's new partnership between East and West Learning Connections and NCCA Canada on business communication workshops. And the topic that was essentially assigned to me was this one, strategies for active listening during high pressure meetings. And so that might mean different things to different people. Let's explore a bit and let's get some general ideas out there, and maybe we can participate and dig deeper. And we'll definitely have some Q&A at the end, especially. So an introduction to myself. My name is Rick, and I am a founder of NCCA Canada, and I'm on the executive team. I'm the executive director, and I'm also a designated coach. I'm a former ESL teacher. I still have my certifications, and I'm a TEDx speaker. I run a company called 3V Communications, which is a for-profit coaching and training, usually for the business world. And I'm involved in a charity, which is YETI, York Entrepreneurship Development Institute. Simply speaking, we train entrepreneurs here and abroad, for-profit and non-profit. And I'm fortunate enough to be on the Global Gurus list since 2022, different rankings of the top 30, and that's really fun. I get to mix and mingle with other communication experts from around the world, and I get to meet them and find out what they're doing and what they're writing and all the other fun stuff. So that's a snapshot of me. So basically my background is sociology, psychology, then an MBA, ESL teaching, then in business and entrepreneurship. So I'm a bit of a mix. A brief nod to NCCA. It's a nonprofit home for Canadian communication coaches and trainers. And we promote professional standards and designation for those coaches that may want that and want to align with us, be certified and designated. But here's the kicker. We offer professional development and networking events, workshops, and webinars open to anyone. So I just want to make that clear. You do not have to be a so-called communication coach. If a webinar is interesting to you, just like today's topic was interesting to you and you signed up, so we'll also be offering some events and some webinars. So just be aware of that. We tend to have the same mission, our crowds, which is to help people, whether a newcomer or not, to develop their communication skills, their business skills, and succeed. So you can find us on social media as well. So that's just a quick nod. And there's a picture from one of our first in-person events, and then later on a picture below of one of our online events. So we try to do both. More on that after. Okay, let's get into it. So today's topic, active listening under pressure. So here's what I've kind of outlined for us to talk about. Obviously, we do have to start with a definition of some kind. What is active listening? Some of you may have not heard this, most of you have, but let's discuss what it means to you. And then, of course, the next question, well, why do I care? Why should you care? Why is it important? Is it important? I want to look at body language, preparation, and then, of course, verbal. So we'll look at verbal and nonverbal. So nonverbal first, then we'll look at a verbal formula called EAR, which I think is easy to remember. We'll practice if you're brave. And then I want to finish off discussing a formula or a strategy, which is listening for hot buttons. And if we have time, we'll practice. If not, I'll tell a couple stories. And then we'll have Q&A at the end. So this is what we're doing. We're doing this big world of active listening. What I want you to do is think about how it relates to you, your job, your work, your career, your meetings, whatever you do. Think about this in terms of how it affects your work life. So we're going to start with questions, as I mentioned. What is active listening? Does anyone want to give us a simple definition? Just simply speaking, what does active listening mean to you? Does anyone want to be brave enough to try right off the bat?
I'll be brave, Rick.
Hi,
It's Sheila
Sheila.
speaking.
How are you?
Very well. I would think that active listening is truly focusing on the moment and absorbing the content, not only the content, but the manner in which it's presented, and watching for cues as well as using your ears to hear the words, and just staying in that space.
Yeah, beautiful. Very, very, very good. Excellent points. I love how you mentioned not just your ears, but using your eyes to observe as well. And any way we can observe anything, we should. That might include feelings, for that matter, that we feel. So it's not exactly hearing, it's not exactly seeing, but maybe we feel something. That's also part of active listening. Very good. It's hard to top that, but does anyone have any other insight or other words or adjectives or other form of definition for active listening?
Rick, like this is Pang here.
Hey, Pang.
I was thinking that is also the mindset of like curiosity there, right? Just listening, pay attention to Sheila's point, pay attention to the body language, but also thinking between the lines with a curiosity mindset, not thinking from your own perspective, but more from, okay, why the other person are saying this, like with that sort of discovery kind of mindset.
Pang, I love it. I love it. I love just that keyword curiosity. Even if you just said one word, curiosity, I think that really, really helps people understand and imagine a very key part of this. It actually reminds me of when I was working previously with the Police Officer Association. I always expected them to act like I saw on TV, of course, TV shows. But what I found out very quickly was that they're good at small talk and they're good at making you comfortable, all that stuff, but they're very curious. The higher up they go in their ranking, so the detectives and the sergeants, the more curious they are. So you think you're just talking about something simple like the commute to that location or what you had for lunch, but they're asking questions and it sounds so casual, so relaxed. No, this is what detectives do. They've got this really good active listening where based on curiosity. So anyway, I don't want to take over too much time, but that your comment, Peng, reminded me of my experience with police officers, especially the higher levels. Very good. Excellent. Does anyone else have anything to add to this idea of active listening?
Hi, Rick.
Hi.
It's Heather.
Hi, Heather. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I just wanted to add that it's also important that I think people have said so far is amazing. I really love the curiosity also. But I think that also it's important to make sure that the listener feels listened to somehow. And probably all that behavior is important, but that's just something that I would focus on too, that reaction between the two people.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. We could probably go on for another 5 minutes, but I'll just carry on here. So this may surprise you, but I actually don't have a one sentence definition for you. What happened is exactly like I'd hoped, that people contributed to this question and you've come up with your own answer as a group. I support everything that's been said. So active listening is when you make a purposeful, meaningful effort to listen because you're curious, because you want to listen, because it's important to listen, and you are gauging if they are with you during that conversation. So excellent, everyone. So the next thing is, why should we practice it? Because it takes extra effort. There's no kidding yourself. It's not easy. And I would say anyone who has worked in a job that focused on listening skills, perhaps call center, customer service, telemarketing, counseling, face-to-face counseling too, by the way, high-level customer service, high stakes negotiations. Active listening is not natural. It's not easy. You have to make extra efforts to do it. So why should we practice it? Why should we get good at it? Why should we do it maybe most of the time and not just once in a while? Does anyone have any thoughts on this idea of all this effort we're putting into it, why it's important?
Can I start again?
Sheila, you can.
Get the conversation going?
Absolutely.
I know why it's important for me, because I'm a chronic interrupter. And I tend to think about what I'm going to respond to before I've completed the active listening phase. So it's important if we want to reach fair and equitable resolutions to whatever issue is being discussed, that we hear and really hear both sides.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. There's a lot of us that are not exactly waiting for the other person to finish speaking before we jump in. And in some cultures, North America especially, we're allowed to. There's a lot of it in business, and it can be frustrating for both parties. Very good. Anyone else have an idea of why we should maybe get better at listening, or why it's important to really, really get better at active listening?
Hi, Rick.
Hi, Evelyn. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I think for me, it's really important to be interested in the other person before they can be interested in us. So interested. And it's a really good way of getting to know your audience by listening actively.
I love it. Very good. It kind of aligns with the curiosity thing as well. And that we do want to get to know the audience. We do want them to get to know us. We do have to make efforts to go deeper. So I think that's a very good point. Thank you. Wow, I'm seeing so many familiar faces today. It's amazing. It's great. What I can say from my opinion, my experience, is that anything, today we're talking about active listening, but we could talk about, anything else you want. It does take practice, and you cannot wait until the very moment you need it and then decide that because you read an article 5 months ago or did a webinar 5 months ago, that suddenly it's going to come back to you and you're going to be able to do it efficiently. So what I believe in is, and I think those of you that know me for many years, I'm a formula guy. This is no secret, right? 3 V's of communication. Everything for me is a formula, because to me, that's how I learn it. It's how I memorize, and it's how I practice it over and over. I get feedback from the world and I refine it. So I'm a very much focused on, don't just read a text definition, but actually practice it. And then when you practice it in so-called low stakes environments or low stakes situation, when you need it for the high pressure or high stakes situation, it's much more natural, even if you're a little bit more under pressure. So remember the title of this that was given to me. It's like listening under pressure. That was one of the key components of today's webinar was let's talk about it under pressure. So I do want to take a moment to say that this is not something you can just practice once in a while and expect to be good at it. And the more you practice it, the better. But the more you practice it, you will get more comfortable at the higher stakes environments. And obviously, if you practice it a lot at high stake environments, you get even better at it. So just please be aware of that. That might be a good reason to practice it as well. If you find that your job puts you in these situations often, where there's a high pressure, there's high energy, there's a lot of talking, there's rapid fire Q&A, whatever the situation might be, and you feel you're getting a little bit caught up in the stress, and you're trying to listen, you're trying to respond, you're trying to focus, then this would be something that you do want to get better at. Hopefully today we can help. So the next thing I want to just say is how do they feel? So I'll just answer this one myself, I think, but this is something we should think about. How do they feel? And Heather alluded to this as well. It's not just about us. We can do all like I can go like, okay, I'm nodding my head. Yeah. So I'm being a good active listener. I'm nodding my head. I'm saying yes. But is the other person acknowledging that? Do they think I'm being fake? Are they even listening to themselves? Like, so how do they feel means I've got to be paying attention. I can't just be doing some simple motions. I've got to be in the moment. And how do they feel when we're having this conversation? How do they feel if they know I'm listening? How do they feel if they feel I'm listening? So how do they feel if I know I'm listening? How do they feel if I feel I'm listening? This is an interesting question. How do you feel if you know someone's listening to you? Not think, but know. And probably something like this. It leads to building rapport is, phrase thrown around a lot, but it leads to rapport, which is good connection. Now that leads to comfort. This is so, so important. Do not underestimate the power of being comfortable. Because when you're comfortable, your guard goes down and you become open. And this engenders trust. And when you have trust between people, you can have some kind of good business relationship. Obviously, there's steps, but that's the general idea. So putting the efforts in to build rapport, in this case, active listening we're looking at today, creates them a feeling of, oh, they're trying to get to know me, or they do get me. I feel very comfortable with this person. And when I'm comfortable, I can relax, I can be myself, I can open up, I can let my guard down. And that leads to a feeling of trust, wanting to trust, and feeling of extending trust. And that will help with your business relationship. When I say business relationship, you could be coworkers, it could be one is a boss and one is an employee, it could be a vendor-supplier relationship, it doesn't matter. Okay? It sounds so simple, but this is one of the big things I've learned in my life is how do you get people comfortable? Now, the next step is to tell when they're comfortable, to observe and make sure they're comfortable, but that's another topic. Now, let's start a little bit with body language, because body language is it's important. So can any non-native speaker tell me what's wrong with what I've written here? So not you, Heather, not you, Sheila.
Solar is spelled wrong.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you very much. So either I've made a mistake or there's a typo, which does happen. I mean, one of the funniest idioms I learned from Asia was sometimes even monkeys fall out of trees. I thought that was really, really a funny one. We don't really have too many monkeys over in Canada, but that's a funny one. So it's possible I made a mistake, or it's possible I did it on purpose. So in this case, it is on purpose because I want to teach you a quick head to toe setup for getting your body language ready for active listening. And we use this acronym of SOLAR. And to me, I find it easier to remember SOLAR. Imagine it's like solar power. So hence the picture, hence the phrase. So the first thing we do, and this is very simple, it's easy to do, just make sure you're doing it, is you square yourself to whoever you're talking to, whether that's one person, two people, a group, square yourself. This is also whether I'm sitting or standing, on Zoom or in person, I'm giving you my attention by squaring. What do I mean by squaring? I mean, my hips and feet are pointed at you. You, my friends, cannot see my hips and feet right now, but you can feel when I'm giving you my attention. If I have my feet angled off to the side for a long time, I'm still looking at the camera, but there's a sense that I'm not quite 100% there. right? And if the conversation goes on for a while, you're going to get this sense that I'm just not really, really focusing on you completely. So it's a simple thing. And I say this because sometimes when we're online, we don't think about our feet, but it's a simple thing to square yourself. Shoulders, hips, square yourself to them. Give them your attention. This is S. Then you want to open up your body language, of course. Open up yourself, making sure you're not having crossed arms, making sure you don't have things in front of you, making sure you don't have props in front of you. Just open up, open up. Make your center line open and vulnerable as you're communicating. Again, face-to-face, ideal, but even over Zoom, I can make sure that I'm not hiding my midsection too much. I'm still opening my arms on Zoom. Lean in slightly. This is interesting. I think that some people maybe go too far and you don't want to invade someone's personal space. But leaning is very interesting. So I'm going to demonstrate it now on Zoom. Now, again, I acknowledge that it's more difficult on Zoom. It's easier on person. But so here I am with my frame. So I call it my frame, the top of my Zoom frame. You can see I've got about an inch above my head. This is my typical Zoom frame. So you can see my face, you can see a bit of my chest and arms. This is how I operate on Zoom so that I can use my hands if I want to. So let me just lean back. So it's still me.
We can't see you, Rick.
No?
No, we just see the slide.
I can see. I think I can see him. Who was that? Evelyn?
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you
sorry.
see me, Evelyn?
Was
Yeah.
it you that you couldn't
Yeah.
see Rick? I can
Oh, no,
see Rick.
I can see Rick perfectly.
Okay,
Okay.
Evelyn, if I lean back, can you still see me?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So what's interesting is that even if I lean back, I'm still talking to everyone. I'm still here, but now you probably feel there's a bit of a distance. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean I'm suddenly a bad guy, but now we're going to talk about something very important like your potential salary raise or the report you did, and I'm just a bit more distant. And so conversely, if I'm really, really like this, like, tell me what you did again. How'd that meeting go? Why'd you say that? It's really, really in your face. And you wouldn't want that in person either. So all I'm doing is I'm finding the right distance, but I'm making sure that I'm leaning in slightly when I'm talking about something important, when I'm trying to listen to you. I just want you to know that I'm engaged and I'm listening to you. So this is a very simple thing. In person, whether you're sitting or standing, same thing. How can I slightly lean in without going too far? Because I want to show them I'm interested. I want to express that, let them know that I'm here for them. I want to be able to use my body language effectively, but I don't want to be in their face and I don't want to be standoffish. So that's the L, lean in slightly. Eye contact is mandatory. People talk about different cultures, different rules. Is it 70% in North America, 90% in North? Whatever you're comfortable with between that 70 and 90 is fine with me. But the idea is that we should make some eye contact to let the person know we're focusing on them, we're listening, we're engaged. Now, over Zoom, I've got to look at my camera. So this is the tricky part. I've got to actually look at my camera, which means I'm not looking at you. So right now, if I want to look at Evelyn, I have to go here and, oh, I see Evelyn. I see Ellen. But when I look at the camera, I could say, hi, Ellen, hi, Evelyn, but I'm actually not seeing you. This is the challenge with online, is that for me to give the illusion I'm listening to you, I have to look at the camera. But to actually read your facial expressions, I've got to look off to the side. There's nothing you can do about this. It is what it is, unless you've got a one-person conversation and they're under your camera and all that stuff. Some people take that Zoom list and they move it over underneath their camera. So there are things you can do. In a slide presentation, it's trickier because you're trying to see the slides. But what I want to say is that especially in person, make sure that you're giving that person eye contact when you're speaking, and more importantly, when they're speaking about something important. Make sure you're looking at them. And relax your shoulders, your whole body, and don't fidget. It sounds like very simple advice, but some people carry stress in their shoulders. Well, if you're stressed out, they're going to be stressed out, or you're going to be giving the feeling that stress is okay in this conversation. So it might be a tricky conversation. It might be a difficult conversation. That's why active listening is required. So try your best to relax your upper body, especially your shoulders. Try not to have fidgeting with any pens or rings or hair or anything, and just be in the moment, be centered, as they might say in yoga class, and give that person attention. So again, no rocket science here, but maybe a simple formula of solar, easy to remember, to make sure that you can get yourself prepared when that active listening happens, either online or in person. Now, I promise you a couple formulas. So a verbal formula is something that's, I call it ear. I came up with this. I think other people probably have come to the same conclusion. What's the main important thing I want to do when I'm trying to be a good active listener? And the first thing is I have to empathize. I have to use empathy. It means that I have to try to understand your point of view, what you're saying, even if I don't understand 100%, even if I don't agree. So it's a time when we don't have judgments. We just simply try to understand where you're coming from. So this is the first step, because even if you just try to understand where they're coming from, the feeling is that you're listening. Okay. The feeling is you're actively listening. If you are listening to pick apart their argument, if you are listening to challenge them, if you are listening to find points that you can argue with, you are not active listening. And that's the difference. So empathy is a non-judgmental thing. Like, you could be talking about something I totally disagree with, but I'm just trying to understand your point of view, not to agree with it, not to support it maybe, but just to understand where you're coming from. It's one of the hardest things to do when you're talking to an angry person, when you're talking to an angry customer or an angry boss, an angry spouse, or someone who's on a different political side than you are. But it's a really great skill to just get comfortable using empathy to try to understand as best you can from their world point of view. This is how they see the situation. And okay, let me try to understand from their point of view, however they grew up, whatever their understanding of the world is, that's how they see the situation. Let me start with that. So this is the first thing about empathy. It's tricky because you have to kind of put your ego in rest mode. And after you empathize, you need to acknowledge what they're saying. So once again, this is not judgment. This is not agreement. It's acknowledge. So some people say things like, well, I hear what you're saying. That's an example of someone acknowledging it. Someone might say, I see from a certain point of view how that might be the case. Or someone might say, well, I don't agree, but I understand how you got there. So there's different phrases you can use, but the point is you're acknowledging what they're saying, as opposed to putting a wall up and saying, I don't want to talk about this. I don't agree with this. That makes no sense to me, which creates a barrier to the conversation. Remember, we're talking about active listening. We're not talking about negotiation skills right now. So with active listening, we empathize first as much as possible, trying to see where they're coming from, why it's important to them. Then we acknowledge what we heard. We kind of say, this is what I'm hearing. Is that the case? I think, okay, I think I'm hearing this. I don't know if I understand completely, but is this what we're talking about? You're acknowledging what they're saying. And the last thing is you can reflect back to them in your own language what you think you've heard. So it doesn't have to be so-called paraphrasing. Paraphrasing isn't bad, but it's not necessary. As long as you reflect back the main idea, that person feels heard. They feel listened to. They feel, okay, we're on different, again, we're on different fences maybe, but I can talk to this person more. You know, they're not jumping down my throat. They're not freaking out. We're having a conversation. So all this stuff is very important in high stakes conversations. So what's an example of a high stake conversation? For example, it could be, again, the world of counseling when you listen to someone who has emotional challenges. It could be at work. It could be a big discussion, a big disagreement. It could be about business. There's a variety of things when the stakes are high and maybe voices are raised and energy's high. You kind of try to get yourself to center yourself, listen first, actively listen, try to see where they're coming from, acknowledge where they're coming from so they can reassure you that is what they're saying, and try to reflect back that you understand what they're saying. You hope they're going to give you the same respect. It doesn't always work. But this is about you learning how to actively listen. Now, I want to practice today with a simpler topic, a low stakes environment topic, just to practice. So we're still going to practice empathy, acknowledge, and reflect back. It's going to be just a short role play, mock conversation, and I will give you the topic and we'll just play for fun. So Ellen, I'm going to pick on you. Yes, Ellen, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is a very simple conversation. The low stakes conversation is cuisine. Cuisine, it's food from around the world. That's all it is. So we're going to have a simple conversation You're going to ask me the question of something like, so what kind of cuisine do you like? What kind of food do you like? I'm going to give an answer, and you're going to listen to me for 30 seconds or so, and then you're going to go. And so all you got to do is somehow let me know that you heard or felt what I said. And that can be done with empathy, with acknowledgement, with reflecting back. And if you've done your job, I'm going to get this feeling that, yeah, you listened, we connected. And if you didn't do your job, I'm going to get a feeling of, oh, there's still some distance. That's the idea. Does it make sense?
Right.
So go ahead.
Ooh, this is not my strength, so okay, I'll give it a try.
Ask
All
me the
right.
question. Yep.
Okay. Shall we start?
Yep.
Hey, Rick, what's your favorite, what's your comfort dish?
None of your business. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I just couldn't help. What do they
No.
say in Chinese? 不关你的事. Something like this. Sorry, just want to play a little bit because people are all tense now. But okay. The
Yes.
question is, what's my favorite comfort food, you said? Okay.
Yeah.
What a great question. Well, I tell you, I like a lot of foods. I love trying different things from all over the world, but my comfort dish would be spaghetti, if you can believe it. And I'll tell you why. My dad used to make spaghetti when we were kids growing up. He'd make a big pot of spaghetti sauce, work on it all day, ingredients from scratch. You would smell it for hours. Then you'd get this big plate of spaghetti at dinner time. It was a big thing. And we're not Italian. So why my dad liked to do that, I'm not exactly sure. But when we got older, went off to university and college, we'd come home, my dad would make spaghetti, or he'd jar the sauce and give us a jar to take back up to college, university. And I think now my brother and sister and myself, we all have our own kind of recipes, different recipes of spaghetti or spaghetti sauce. So I would think that's the comfort food. Now, my dad passed away, unfortunately, a few number of years ago, but I think that that's a weird way of remembering him is by having spaghetti. There you go.
Aw. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your dad, but
Mhm.
it sounds like that's a great family memory for you to eat spaghetti.
Yes, you're right.
Yes. And um, did you also say that you're trying it in your family as well and trying to make your kids feel comfortable with eating spaghetti as well?
Oh, great follow-up. I didn't say that, but now that you mention it, that's true. We have a new generation of spaghetti lover now. So that's maybe someday my son will make his own sauce. I never thought about that, but that does make sense. Very good. Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you. Thank you. Okay, so time out for a second. So even though this role play, thank you, Ellen, so much. Even though the role play is put together quickly, we all know it's fake, Ellen's not even ready, but still in this simple role play of a low stakes topic of, hey, what's your comfort food? Um, you can see that by just making little extra efforts to listen to what the person's saying, instead of jumping in, oh, you like spaghetti? Well, I like tacos, and completely missing the opportunity to connect with someone, to show them that you're truly listening. That's what we're talking about today is how can I make sure I don't just skip over it? How can I acknowledge that I heard the person? How can I empathize with whatever they're talking about? And can I reflect back the same idea? So Ellen used things like she talked about family traditions or the feelings, and then she talked about the next generation. So she used her own words. Remember, I told you, you don't have to paraphrase necessarily. You don't just give me the feeling that you heard me and that you acknowledge the deeper understanding, the deeper meaning of what I'm saying. And that's going to make me feel more comfortable with Ellen. And then I feel I can maybe open up more, and that engenders trust for both of us. So that's just a quick example where you can use active listening to have a bit of a deeper conversation and to make the person feel heard and trying to get to that comfort. Does that make sense to you, Ellen, what we did?
Yeah, yeah. It's actually, I think I don't know if you can feel, I struggle a little bit because um, I guess we all have our habit of conversation on an everyday basis. And then while you're trying to think, oh, how can I be empathetic and reflect back what you have just said, like I have to make a conscious effort, like you said. And then this is actually very helpful and revealing that is a process that you kind of had to do it mentally. So it is very helpful. I actually thank you for picking on me on that.
Well, my pleasure to pick on you. Good. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions or anything to add to this idea of active listening just before we move on a little bit? I've got another example coming up as well, but I just want to give anyone a chance if they want to ask any questions about this, if it's not quite clear or.
I wanted to add something. This is Heather again. Not about the interaction right now, but when it's really something that's hard for you to listen to, like a really different point of view. The thing is, if you can really listen and the person feels that they've listened to you, then it's easier for them to listen to you when you go to speak. And that's another real benefit of active listening. Because if I feel you're not listening to me, I just keep arguing, right? Yeah.
Very good.
Not a big argument though, the spaghetti. I don't like spaghetti myself, but anyway.
What? How dare you? How dare you?
Hi, Rick. This is Yang.
Hi, Yang.
I like the comment you made about Ellen ask you questions instead of saying, "Oh, started to talk about her favorite food." Yeah, I like because in conversations sometimes people are so eager to express themselves, to talk about themselves. So they divert from the person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would have got that, like, had we had another couple of minutes, I would have then said to Ellen, if I'm a good conversation partner, I would have then asked her, by the way, what is your favorite comfort food? So it absolutely is nice and fair to go back and forth. And a lot of people don't do it. Or they just, as I may give the example, they cut someone off and just jump in. So again, someone says, I just came back from vacation. And I say, where'd you go? They say, I went to Mexico. And then I immediately start jumping, oh, Mexico. Well, I went here and I went there and this is this and this is that. And I really, it's like, wow. As opposed to saying, even if I have a lot of knowledge about Mexico, but just biting my tongue a bit and just asking some questions first. Where did you go? How was the experience? Now, I can acknowledge it a bit by saying, well, I've been to Mexico too, but I'm curious about your experience. I can say that just to let them know that I have a little bit of knowledge of what they're talking about, not in a judgmental way, but I might do that. But still, once again, and I'm using this hand gesture of I'm putting it back to them. So I really want them to say what they're going to say. Maybe they loved Mexico. Maybe they hated Mexico. I won't know if I don't ask, if I don't let them talk, if I don't let them express themselves. If they loved it, then that gives me an idea of what to talk about next. If they hated it, that gives me an idea of what to talk about next. So if I don't find out, I'm just going on my own world of, oh, Mexico's the best, blah, 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 blah. And then they're looking at me like, actually, we hated it. I'm like, oh. So it's not the end of the world. It's not that you can't be friends after. It becomes an awkward conversation. When if you would have just had patience, let the person talk, maybe ask some good questions, actively listen, followed up a bit, then your turn to speak. It's a much more deeper and a more connective conversation. So yes, let's think of that. And by the way, I will tell you, you may argue with me or not. It's okay, but I found in my experience that what I learned from women over my life, women of different ages and situations, is that quite often women will ask someone something that they want to talk about. And a lot of men don't understand that. Again, I'm generalizing, but that is my experience. So especially younger people do this. So for example, if a woman would maybe ask me a question about, I don't know, have you been to this restaurant before? I might simply answer with a yes or no. So yes, I have, it's great, or no, I haven't. Let's move on. But maybe she was waiting for me to kind of ask her opinion or that. And so that's something I learned along the way, was that there's different styles of communication, different levels. And now as a, let's say, almost mature adult, I would say no matter who I'm talking to, I'm always aware in the back of my head, can we both go on this conversation? But I to be honest, I learned it from interacting with women when I was younger, that I should ask about their opinion or their thoughts on the same topic that they've asked me about. So anyway, there's some food for thought on being equal in conversation. I want to move on just to the last formula. This thing. This is a verbal strategy called listening for hot buttons. I'm just going to tell you a couple quick stories about it, and then we'll go to Q&A. I know that there's probably some more specific work-related questions that some of you want to ask me. So this is connected to the ear and the active listening. So a hot button is a pain point. In the business world, we call it a pain point. It could be some confusion about something, a misunderstanding, a challenge that's affecting their work, something that's stopping their work. So again, I'm looking at it from work related. So it's a pain point. It's a point of pain. It's a point of frustration. It's a point of for them. And so I want to listen to this. If I can hear it in the active listening that there's something that is a bugging them or stopping them or frustrating them, it's an opportunity for me to relieve their pain. So if I can press that hot button, so to speak, by acknowledging it, repeating it, and confirming that I understand what they're saying, it gives them some sense of relief because they're feeling understood. This can be done oppositely as well with a pleasure point. So it works both ways, pleasure and pain, maybe opposite flip side of a coin, but pain points are usually more pronounced. They're more serious because they stop people from getting what they want. So just a couple stories just to give you a sense of what I'm talking about as examples. Imagine that you're at home working from home or something, and your computer is not working well. It's making some strange sounds. So you take it to the whatever type of computer store you might go to, whether it's Apple Store or whether it's Staples, it doesn't matter what. And you come in, and a salesperson comes over to you and says, "Hi, can I help you?" And you say, "I believe I need a new computer." And if that salesperson says, "Oh, well, over here we have our fresh off the line, brand new, all the bells and whistles, $5,000 units, blah, blah, blah. And over here's our sales rack right now, 40% off just until tonight, just so you good timing. What do you think?" You might go, because the salesperson's not actively listening to you, right? You went in and said, "I need a computer." And they said, "Okay, here's the expensive with most up-to-date, high-functioning ones, and here's the sales rack." But you're not looking specifically for the brand newest one. You're not looking specifically for something that's on sale. They may be afterthoughts, but it's not the priority. So what is your priority? Can anyone help me? What is your pain point? Sheila?
Well, no one on the sales side of things has asked me what I'm looking for or what my needs are. I would think that might be the first confusing thing for me as a potential customer, is I want that sales help to actually outline or listen to what I need and then point me in that direction. Find
Good.
out what I'm using the computer for, how
Good.
often, what's my price range, those basic parameters.
Right, but I agree. But before that, what is your priority? What's the pain point as per my initial story? What is the reason that brought you to the store today? What's the pain?
I have a need.
What's the need?
I need I need to make a purchase. I'm without my equipment, and I'm reaching here, Rick, to try to find
It's
out
okay.
what.
And I'm going to help you. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to take that lifeline and help you. So
Thanks.
everything you said was correct. But what I want to do is I want to drill down to the emotion itself, not the action of I'm here and the person could have said this and asked those questions. The emotion is, what's your pain point? Your pain point is your damn computer is about to blow up. And it's a serious problem because you do all your work on that. You've got all your pictures of your grandkids and or it's all your files. That's the problem. That computer's making strange noises. That's why you're coming into the shop. So the pain point here could be dramatic in sense of that your work could be affected, your career could be affected, or your memories for the last 20 years could be affected. I know that we have cloud storage, but you get the idea. So if, as you said, Sheila, if the salesperson says, what brings you in today? Well, I need a computer. Okay, what happened to your old one would be a great question. Or what's going on with your current computer? Now that is a good question. Because when the salesperson says, what's going on with your computer, or why today, or then when you say, well, I was at home working and it starts to click, it's making all these weird noises, I think I smell smoke, then the salesperson, oh, that sounds serious. You're like, well, yeah, all my work files are there, and it's my boss will kill me if I lose this, and blah, blah, blah. And the salesperson, let me help you get a computer right now that is safe. It's got all the proper backups and security. It's got proper battery that never gets hot and blows up, blah, blah, blah. Now you're listening. Now you're going, great. So it's not an issue of price. It's not an issue of what is the latest and greatest. The issue is, what kind of secure computer can I get to make sure this doesn't happen again? So this is what I mean by listening to hot buttons, and then acknowledging it by clicking the hot button, basically saying, I hear you. I hear why you're here today. You're here because you don't want this computer's on its last leg. We got to get it transferred over to something safe and secure so this doesn't happen again. So that's an example of a pain point, of a hot button. I'll give another example for everyone. This is a positive one. Remember I said it could be pain or pleasure? So this is a pleasure one. This is an old sales story from real estate. The couple is looking for a house. This real estate agent is trying to sell the house, cannot sell it for many, many months. Nobody wants it because it's a bit old and run down, I guess. But he's showing them the house. They're doing a walkthrough, and they get to the kitchen area. There's a big bay window, the backyard. There is a tree. And as they're talking, the wife says, is that a cherry tree? And the real estate agent, knowing his stuff, says, yes, it is. It is a cherry tree. And she says, we had a cherry tree when I was growing up. My goodness, we used to swing on it. My mom would make cherry pie. It was, the smell was amazing. And the real estate agent goes, yeah, let's open the window and smell. So he opens the window and you get this waft of cherry blossoms, and wow, yeah, you're totally right. Well, let's carry on to the walkthrough. Here's the dining room. And if you look at the dining room, here's the window you can open up and you can see the cherry tree, you can smell it. Let's go upstairs. Here's the master bedroom. And as you can see, there's a window overlooking the backyard. If we open up the window, blah, 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 blah. So I think you get the hint of what I'm saying now. The real estate agent is hitting the hot button. In this case, it's not a pain, it's a pleasure. The lady has fond memories of the cherry tree, and so he's taking the opportunity to hit it again, acknowledging it, repeating it along the journey of looking through the house, hoping that that'll at least contribute to selling the house. So is that unethical? I don't think so. It's not a lie. If it's a oak tree and he's saying it's a cherry tree, that's unethical for sure. But what we're doing is we're just actively listening, and we're listening to what people say. And if they mention a pain point, we want to come in and see if we can help them relieve the pain. If they mention a pleasure point, we want to see if we can help them continue that or enjoy that. And that's essentially what this hot button exercise is about. Yes, it's more sales oriented, but you can absolutely use it in non-sales conversations. You're in a boardroom, someone's upset about something, it's a pain point. You're trying to identify what is the pain so you can hopefully relieve it. You can use active listening and ear and all that stuff to get there, but you're essentially trying to get the pain out so you can deal with it and bring the pain down. So these two, like I said, they tend to work together, I think, for active listening. Does that make sense, the hot button? Does anybody have any questions about this hot button idea, or does that make sense?
I get it now.
Yeah, thanks, Sheila. These short webinars, I got to put people on the spot. Only the brave ones, right? So thank you so much. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to quickly say my goodbyes, but obviously leave it up for any Q&A. So my message is go practice. Anything you learn from me or anybody else, the best way to start working on it is to go play with it, go practice, see what works, explore it a bit. That's my advice. If you want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, and my email is right here for NCCA Canada. And as a reminder, NCCA has a newsletter. We're on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and we have a YouTube channel. This is a video from our YouTube channel. It's from a conference we did. Heather was there, Evelyn was there, and one of our speakers, Tom, Bradshaw, I just have a screenshot here. He did a really great seminar on using your voice and making your voice powerful. He's a very good speaker. So I just want to highlight that if anyone's interested in really maximizing kind of a powerful voice, he's got some really great exercises in his video. You can go to the YouTube and you can watch him do his thing. The last thing I want to say is that I mentioned before that NCCA will have our own webinars. If you're interested, that we have a survey going on right now. You can just 5 questions. You can pick what type of webinar you would attend or you would like, what kind of business skills you would focus on. So again, if that's interesting, if that's something you might do with NCCA, then go ahead and fill that out. Thank you so much for your attention today. I really appreciate it. And I'm so glad to see friendly faces. If anyone has any questions about anything or more specific, please, now's your time to ask.
Could you put the webinar choices URL into the chat
Ellen?
so that we could copy that?
Yeah, I'm gonna give Ellen a PDF as well right after this, and she'll send the PDF out to everybody. So you'll also have that.
Right. Yeah, I cannot copy down the links right now, but I will post it on our website, and then you'll be getting it.
So does anyone have any questions about I see the chat's active. Ellen, maybe you could let me know if there's anything any questions or
I don't see any questions here in chat yet. But I don't know if Chloe, if you're still on. Oh,
Chloe's
yeah, she
here.
has her hands up. Yeah, go ahead, Chloe.
Go ahead, Chloe.
Let me turn on my camera. Thank you so much, Rick, for this fantastic presentation. I learned a lot. I do have a question, say, in my work environment, I have a lot of scenario that where I need to active listen under pressure, but my confusion is that I need to pay a lot of attention to listen behind what the person is delivering. Right. There might be some like hidden ideas or needs that I need to identify, found them out, and maybe sometimes even this person doesn't know. So because I handle a lot of cases with advisors or clients, and we need to, because for a lot of knowledge or potential consequences that unknowing something they don't know, we need to point them out. So that pressure came to me a lot of times. Any tips for that?
What do you do?
I prepare a slide, like a deck, to educate them, to talk about, say, if you are missing this type of understanding, and this is might be the potential consequence. But if the clients or the advisors telling the story, they forgot to mention some key information, I need to dig it out. So that's my pressure. I take notes, I present with the slides. That's so far what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. So where's the challenge? You take notes, you dig out what you can, then you present it.
But still, there's some hint information I might miss.
How do you know you've missed it?
It's hard to, because a lot of details. It's hard to mention here with a short limit of time. So yeah.
What I mean is maybe I'm thinking about this differently, but part of what you're doing, your job, et cetera, is you have to take a lot of this information, take some keynotes, try to get it summarized quickly, and then be able to present it, right, one way or another. Yeah. And so my immediate thought is we wouldn't expect 100% robotic perfection, right? We would hope that the key aspects are covered, and that if anyone needed follow-up questions or information, that would be available. I would hope that you would be comfortable knowing that within the given assignment and time frame that they gave you, that you're doing exactly what is asked of you, as you're covering all the main topics and and that if someone asked you a follow-up question, that you would be able to give that information to them. So I guess in my own weird way, I'm kind of saying, I would hope that you don't put all the pressure on yourself to be perfect like a robot. And even if you could, it would probably be way too much information that you're giving other people. So if I would be asking my boss or whoever, I'd say like, well, here's how I understand what you want me to do. Here's what I'm doing. Is this comfortable for you? Is it appropriate? Is it we good? If they're like, yeah, that's great. Oh, maybe you missed something. Oh, okay, is what something small? Well, we want to make sure that the big things are covered, the big subjects are covered. We want to make sure the overall vision is covered of that meeting. We want to make sure that the details can be given to them afterwards. So I would hope that you wouldn't be stressed, but rather say, okay, I can absolutely get you that. Just give me an hour, give me 2 hours. Not, oh my gosh, I missed it because you had a lot of other stuff to do. So if you're not getting the main things covered in your summary, that's a problem, I would think. But if you're not getting that feedback, if the feedback you're getting is, it's okay. So try not to overthink it. Again, this is just my advice from what little I know. I'm not trying to get, you have to deal with it yourself in your career, but be careful about overthinking, overstressing, overworking, looking for perfection, especially if no one's really expecting that from you. It's good to be a hard worker, but if you get the feeling of, oh, I missed this and I'm so terrible because I missed one thing, okay, but you got 95% of it. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty good. Maybe the last person got 80% and you got 95 of this summary information. And so anyway, without knowing all the specifics, that's how I would feel. And if a boss asked me to get every single detail, I would then request a different structure or more time or confirming what exactly do you want and what's the reason? Do I need more time? So maybe you need to have the conversation with the boss to make sure they're satisfied or even beyond satisfied with what you're doing. And that'll give you a feeling, okay, we're good. We don't have to push this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you so much, Rachel. Rick, we need to pat on our shoulder to be relaxed. We got 95%.
Yeah, I mean, so it's, again, I gave you a little bit more of a philosophical answer, I think, but I definitely not suggesting we have to be lazy, but we got to be careful not to push ourselves to the brink of, burnout.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions from anybody?
Any other questions?
Hi, this is Katie. I would like to ask a question. I work from home, actually work from home for a long time already, over 10 years. And our coworkers are all over the country, also working from home. I feel like I'm not so connected with my supervisor. She doesn't reach out much, and I don't have a lot to report, a lot of problems to let her know. So I feel like we're not that connected. So what's your suggestion to make me more connected with her?
With your boss?
With my boss, yeah.
Yeah. So my initial thoughts would be, number one, is it a problem? Yes or no? If it's not a problem, don't need to fix it. That'd be my first thinking. Secondly, if it's a problem, why is it a problem? For who? Is it a problem for me? For someone else? Am I assuming it's a problem for my boss, or do I know it's a problem for my boss? So for me, it's about questions first. But let's assume that you are the one that feels it's wrong to not have a connection with your boss. Let's assume that you want to have a better connection with your boss. Then you may ask yourself, how do I reach out? How do I set up extra meetings or extra time? But what's the point of it? Do I want to be social? Do I want to be professional? The goal has to be clear to you. Is the goal to build rapport and build trust? Is the goal to try to get your boss to know you better so that they're aware of your good work and when promotions come around? Is the goal to improve the whole team dynamic? It's not just about you and the boss, but rather the whole team. So that's what I would sort of start with first, is saying, what are the goals here? Acknowledging that the team is a bit spread out and acknowledging that you don't know your boss, that's good. That's good to know that. But is it a problem? And if so, how? That's the question, because maybe the boss doesn't think it's a problem. Maybe 80% of people are absolutely fine with it. So that's why I was saying, are you looking at this from a team point of view, or are you looking at this from a personal career development point of view?
From personal review or
Right.
view. Actually, to her, it's not a problem. I did talk to her about that, and she feels fine. She
Right.
feels it's okay.
Right.
I just, I had other previous managers, and we talk all the time. I had fun all the time. But this is a new one. It's like she's distant. She doesn't reach out.
Mhm.
It's like our work is autonomous, almost like.
Right. So
Yeah.
the question is the same. Is it really a problem? And if so, how? So for example, let's say you get a pet dog, and after 15 wonderful years, the dog passes away peacefully, and then you get a new dog a year later, and the dog's different personality. Is that a problem? I can't answer that for you. Like maybe it's not a
Yeah.
problem, maybe it is. So you're saying this boss is different. So what? I mean, so if you want the close relationship, you're going to have to make the extra efforts um, without pushing them away because that's what you want, but that doesn't mean that's what they want. So be aware of that and be gentle when
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I would say.
feel like
Yeah.
she's okay. She doesn't need that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would like to be closer to my supervisors,
Right. But
like
different
that.
people have different personalities. Some supervisors, as a person, don't want to be close. But some supervisors keep a professional distance on purpose. So there's different styles of management, right? So it's okay for you to have your perspective and your experience. There's nothing wrong with it. But we also
Yeah.
have to respect that someone else might have a different experience or style.
Yeah.
So once again, the
Yeah.
active listening is figuring out what are their comfort zones, what are their pain points, etc. You can certainly make efforts to get closer to them. There's nothing wrong with that, but just be sensitive to their comfort level as you do it, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Hi, Rick.
Hi.
I'm working for a tech company that technologies across so many different domains, hardware, software, and all the different things. And I have in my daily work, I have many meetings that with all of the different technical informations, and I always feel like so many even the tech terminologies they used and the things they're talking about, I feel I don't know much, and there's so many things I don't know, and there's so many terminologies I don't know what they're talking about. I always feel like overwhelmed by the information in the meetings I have been in.
What is your role in the company? Are you a technical advisor?
I'm a research engineer
Mhm.
in a corporate lab, and it's our project can cross different domains, different business units. So that's why my meetings always like have so broad
Okay.
technical.
So what I want you to think about is what is your role? What were you hired for? And does it include technical knowledge? That's what I want to know. So whoever hired you, did they say to themselves, well, this young lady's got to have excellent technical knowledge, and I think she does, so we'll hire her. And now you feel like, oh no, they found me out. I don't have technical knowledge. Or have you been hired exactly for the right skills and qualifications you have? So you're doing your job properly, and that along your way of doing your job, you have found there's other information you don't know about, like these technical phrases or technical, that's new to you, okay. But somehow you're translating that to be some sort of failure on your part. And what I would say, guess what? I'm not a technical person. So I'll do my best to get familiar with these terms. I'll try to find a simple definition for my brain to understand it, but I'm not going to hold myself to such a high level that I have to become an expert of their information as well. So a simple example of this would be as an entrepreneur, a small business owner, accounting. That's a simple example. So when I've got to do my accounting, my bookkeeping, my HST, I can learn and do it myself. I can, but I'm not a financial numbers guy. It's not my strength. So if I outsource that to an accountant, I'm so much happier, right? If my accountant's trying to tell me a problem, they've got to speak simple language. I can understand. If they go above my head, it's not my fault for being stupid, right? It's not. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a financial wizard. You're going to have to dumb it down for me. So this attitude is what I'm talking about. Be good at your job. Do what you were hired to do and paid to do. That's the priority. If you can also learn some other stuff, great. You get more comfortable. I agree, you'll get more comfortable. But if you put on this idea of I've got to learn everything, and I mean they're not expecting you to understand every word and phrase they say. There's a lot of lingo. There's a lot of stuff in their world that you don't have to know. So that's what I would say is get to know the common ones, get to know what that means to you, because you hear these all the time. But don't put the pressure on yourself to become an expert that you have been hired to be.
Got it. Yeah. I have my own projects that I am working on. So I guess your message is more like I need to more focus on my own project and do my own project better. Just don't put much pressure on some others job and I don't understand much.
No, I'm not exactly saying that. I'm not saying you have to do your job better. For all I know, you're perfect at your job. I don't know. What I'm saying is you've been hired for a reason. Make sure that's the priority. And if you learn other skills and knowledge along the way, that's great. It makes you better at the industry. It makes you a better team player. All that's great. But don't put it to the level where you have to become an expert of someone else's expertise. That's what I'm saying, right? Because then you may as well switch jobs and go do their job then, if that's what you want to do, which is fine. But right. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. It is 1:09.
I know. I always think I've got I have enough. I only have 9 slides. I always think I'll have enough.
I know.
Yeah.
Are there more questions, or are you still okay, Rick?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Rick, like I was concerned about time too. Sorry, Rick, but
Okay,
really
okay.
appreciate like fantastic presentation. I was thinking about, like I have a question. I want to have the tips from you that, in the company, people always use Teams, right? If I'm in the meetings and people will pin you, right? All the time, including your boss, right? Sometimes pin you asking for, response quickly, and then that prevent, like sometimes I feel like I got distracted from being able to actively listening to participate in a conversation. But on the other hand, I saw something pop up. I was concerned, okay, is this something that urgent, the incident that need my immediate attention? Do you have some tips on that?
You may not like it. My tip is to turn the pings off. That's my tip. It's the same thing as the phone. It's the same thing as the cell phone, right? Like, for example, LinkedIn. Like, I like LinkedIn. I visit LinkedIn 3 times a day, probably. Maybe I'm checking in on someone. Maybe I'm, whatever it might be. But I don't have the active notifications on my phone because I'll just check and see if there's any. If someone sends me a message, I'll get an email. Yeah, it takes 20 minutes for the email to let me know. It's just a simple example of like when Facebook Messenger was big, right? People had the same thing. They'd be talking to something, bing, bing, bing. So whatever social media you want to talk about. Now at work, they're using more of these types of social media platforms, right? It's much more common now. So what I would do is I would be aware of that. I would limit that. And if someone asked me why I don't have my notifications on, I would say, when I'm in a meeting with client or teammate or whatever, I want to give them respect. I don't want to be interrupted. I need to focus to make sure that I'm doing my best job. Right. And even if the boss said something like, well, I pinged you 20 minutes ago, I didn't hear from you. So I'm really sorry. What was it about? And they'll probably say something like, well, nothing big. It's just that I wanted to ask. Well, I was just sort of thinking, or, well, don't worry about it. Somebody else answered it. Well, yeah, right. It wasn't that big of a deal. You're not going to say that to your boss, but it's good feedback for you to know that, yeah, it's okay to have your pings off. If it's something really, really urgent, they will ping, they will email, they will call, they'll come and visit you if you're in the same office. They will find you if it's that urgent. They really, really will. So what we do is we train people. Our behavior trains them what to expect. So if you have your pings on, they expect you to respond quickly if you have your pings off. So that's what I would say. There are some people that are really good at managing their response times. They'll tell you in the email signature, I respond the next day, or I respond twice a day to my emails. So there are those things you can do if you're able to do that. Otherwise, it's your behavior that trains people. So once again, if someone calls you and you immediately answer all the time, they expect that the next time. It's just training.
Thank you. That's great. Yeah,
Welcome.
helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome. Hi, Oma.
Hi, Oma. Huh. Your Chinese is getting really better. Oh, God.
Just trying to recall some phrases I used to know a long time ago.
Nice. Anybody else? I don't see more hands up or anything from the chat. And again, really appreciate you taking extra time with us. It has been a really fantastic session today. Appreciate Coach Rick as well as everybody participating, and we look forward to the next session.
Thank you. I also just want to say it's nice to see some friendly faces, people I've met before, both as participants, but also like Heather that was here, Evelyn, they were on our NCC Canada virtual event last year. We had them as guest speakers. So it's really fun to see that that nice friendship between East and West Learning Connections and NCC Canada as well. We hope to see that grow. So thanks everyone. I really appreciate it. As always, if you have any follow-up questions, you can email me or you can email Ellen and we'll do our best. And then Ellen will help me know what the next topic is. So if you have any requests, you can let her know.
Yeah, and I hope everyone, if you have time to fill out the survey, then I'll help Rick with topics.
Yep, exactly right. Okay, everyone, take care.
Thank you so much, Rick.
Bye.